Hello and welcome back to Pixel Perfect Season 2. This is episode 4, I think. My name is Okada, and today we are going to kind of shift focus. We can see we're starting off here in the hub, and most things are disabled for now because, well, it's been several hours since the last episode. Well, days, but several hours worth of work since last episode. And all we're really running now is the reinforced iron plate and, of course, the regular plate that goes into it. Because, if you spend several hours building while running a biofuel, then you go through a lot of fuel. And the thing that probably isn't terribly evident is just how sparse the grasslands has become as I've been cutting down all the foliage. So I've been trying to leave trees and some, bushes around so that it's not completely barren. But the fact is that it's really not as pretty as it used to be. Yeah, I've even gone over to the next area where all the purple trees are and started cutting those down just to try to preserve, some of the visual around here in this area. So I've ended up just shutting down most stuff while I've been working on the neighborhood. And our focus today isn't going to be the neighborhood. We got what we needed to get done in the last episode. The neighborhood is not going to be complete, and it's not going to be complete for quite some time. And that's because, again, we don't have all the cosmetics that we want. We're going to need things like windows, roofing, we're going to need the slanted walls, we're going to want concrete walls. We don't want to have everything in these metal walls. There's just a bunch of stuff that needs to be done later on. But more importantly, we can't finish this right now because we don't have the energy density that will be provided by true automated power. So this episode, we're going to have to deviate from the mission of completing the neighborhood, and we're going to have to focus on trying to get coal power up and running, or at least getting as close as we can. But before we move on from the neighborhood, I do want to show you a couple things real quick, and I want to try turning it on. Now, I realize it looks like that all I've done is expand by adding a couple of extra houses, or a few extra houses, but really I've done a lot more. You see, one of the things I realized during last session was that we didn't have enough room under the neighborhood to do clean belting. We could get away with one layer, but we needed to be able to do layers like this. And you're probably thinking, hey, you could get away with clipping belts. No one would see that. But this is pixel perfect. And my OCD isn't just a catchphrase. Now, I would know that it's not good under here. So what I did was I just deconstructed the entire neighborhood and brought it up by 2 meters. So this is a 1 meter foundation. Yeah, I brought it up 2 foundation heights and rebuilt the entire thing. Every foundation, every conveyor, every machine, everything has been torn down and rebuilt. And that did take a lot of time. But that's okay. Last session was about building the prototype and working out the logistics of the vision. And that's what we did. So the rebuild is bringing us closer to the reality. And we are much closer to the reality. So here at the end of this little cul-de-sac, we actually have higher tier production. Here we have our rotors. Over there is our reinforced iron plate. And I think over there will be our modular frames. And it is all belted, it is all wired, it is all ready to go. So before we move on to our focus for the episode, and what will probably be the latest that we've ever cut to the brand, I want to turn this all on, hope it doesn't crash the network, and see it all functioning. Give me a second. Okay, it is all turned on, I think. Now, we did have some leftover material. When I deleted all the original belts, they drained out of the miners, and so we do have some stuff on the lines, though this is the inaugural running of all the machines. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, we had a bunch of them as under belts. Those didn't have to be deleted. Now, we'll probably high speed a bit of this here, but we need to make sure everything's working because, things rarely work great the first time. Let's go to the camera mode here. Alright, it looks like tentatively everything is working. We're gonna have screws going down the road. We have some iron ingots and raw material coming into the neighborhood. Again, there's a lot going on under the street that we don't see. This is all for the visual, right? Because again, this is representative of the workers going about their day in their neighborhood, going to work, and the kind of production that they are adding to the factory. Okay, so that is all of the kind of tier 1 and tier 2 iron products. And we'll have access to all of them, not at, high throughputs, but we don't necessarily need them at high throughputs yet until we can get our coal production up and running. So let's cut to our brand and actually get started on today's primary goals. All right, with the residential neighborhood up and running, as you can see, we have a lot of biofuel going out. In fact, I'm not even sure if we're actually keeping up with the production rate or if we're just surviving off of the storage that we already had. You can see those are running pretty bare on those lines. Yeah, we had to really expand it just to get that iron up and running. That means everything else is shut off. We're not making anything in copper, no deuterium, no concrete, no crystal. But that does also mean that we can clear out most of this area because, well, we don't need this area anymore. Well, not for this. You see, in order for us to make any more progress, we need to get to a higher tier. That's right, we need to build the space elevator because we need tier 3 and access to coal power, which will be our primary focus in this episode. So I'm once again going to start tearing all of this up because all this production will move to the neighborhood once we have power. And we should be pretty well stocked up on everything. Yeah, that's all of the wire we're going to need for a good while until we're making actual products using these materials. For now, they are just for construction. Look at all the screws that can be moved over to the other area. And all the rods. Yeah, we've got a lot of production done here. Now, as far as Adam and Eve go, they will, of course, continue to produce long into the future, maybe forever, I don't know. But for now, we cannot afford to have them running and just going into a sink. So I have built a little storage here for them. You can see I've colored them too. Adam is now blue, Eve is now pink. But we're going to get sidetracked, and time is of the essence. So let me start tearing everything down and make space for our space elevator. That was kind of fun to say. Okay, we can start placing our space elevator. Let's get back to the high ground, and that's going to help with determining where the space elevator is going to be. Obviously, there are still a couple of things in the way, but it doesn't mean that we can't start mapping it out. Perfect, lock it in right there. Now, it took a while for me to realize this back in early access, which was that there is actually a front to the space elevator. I used to just, place it, and you can interact with it from any location. You don't have to use the terminal. So I think it's probably 2 or 3 saves into it before I actually realized that there was a front to it. Okay, excellent. We are centered. All right, time to build the space elevator. And go. Let's go to camera mode here. Couple the camera. I love this. It is such a well done animation. Although I don't like that it's still orange. It's not honoring our color scheme. That's a little unfortunate. Looks like the cable's coming down off center. Oh, this is just so cool. I love how it latches on. A little guide there. The actual cable comes down, locks it into place. And we got the little platform up there. Oh, that's so cool. I love that. I've never got tired of watching that animation. Okay, so we now have our space elevator. Why can we please repaint it? Yes, okay. Excellent, very good. Now it's actually the right colors. So for phase 1, we just need 50 smart plate. And that will take an assembler, reinforced iron plate, and rotors. So we only need 50. Looks like it's 1-to-1, so we'll need 50 rotors and 50 reinforced plate. And traditionally, we don't actually infinitely manufacture the space elevator parts. I know that some people do. They put it on as part of their chain, and then they just, chuck the rest of it into a awesome sink. But I don't. Traditionally here, no, we just build the exact amount that we need. So we'll need 50 of each and an assembler. So we can do get an assembler. Let's put it over here. We'll probably want 2 of them. Because usually it's pretty slow. Smart plate. Yeah, 2 a minute. So that would take 25 minutes. We can cut that in half by doing 2 of them. All right. So that's going to be nice. Let's get ourselves some splitters going on here. We didn't exactly give ourselves room to work, but these are going to get picked right back up. So I'm not going to worry too much about it. Just put it right up there on the edge. And then we will put another one. Let's put it right over here. That's supposed to be a splitter, not a merger. Okay. Well then, we're probably going to change that. Yeah, of course. Perfect. Okay. And then we'll want a container or 2. Put one here and plop one on top of it. And we're probably going to have just a little bit of clipping. That's, again, we're going to pick this right back up. Just, just pretend you didn't see that. Merger. There we go. That's all we need. We just need to go get the materials. I don't know if we have enough rotors yet. We might have to fire up the neighborhood, but let's go get it. Right, we said reinforced iron plate and rotors, 50 apiece. Actually, as a little silly Billy, I just realized before I go run all the way across the world, I should check my inventory. And we have the rotors and the reinforced iron plate. So we don't actually need to run across the map. And while those do their job, I'm going to get back to cleaning things up. And again, we're going to leave Adam and Eve connected. We will eventually power them again. But right now, not worried about them. Excellent. Love it. Unscheduled hard drive. Just out getting fuel, and we get free stuff. The space elevator should be done by now. This is done. All right, they are shut down. That means they are done. Excellent. Let's get rid of these. Just kind of in the way, visually speaking. All right, first milestone complete. Excellent. They've changed up the animation. There used to be a crate that'd get pushed onto the side and then it'd get pushed in or something like that. And send it. Let's see if we can get the camera mod here. Oh, that was cool. The clouds all shot out. Oh, well, that's not. See, I don't think this was a thing before. I don't remember it constructing and just sending it up. There's nothing happening down there. Okay. Move out a little bit, get a better angle. Oh, that's wicked. And the platform comes back down. So I guess the construction is done. Oh, that's so neat. So I assume it's going to keep building? Oh, that's so neat. Okay. So we're going to need spark plate, versatile framework, automated wiring. Don't worry about this right now. We don't care. That's future us. That's way off in the future us. What we care about is coal power. Okay, we need a bunch of cables, some more rotors, and more reinforced plate. I doubt we have all that on us. Get the plate. Definitely do not have the cable or the rotors. All right, let's run back to the neighborhood real quick, see what we got. Okay, that will be plenty. And there we go. Coal power. Now, I don't know that we're going to set up a full coal, proper facility today. We still got to find where it is and kind of map out how we want to build it and where we want to build it. We might just get some machines down, in the interim. We'll see. Our primary goal, though, is just getting our power up and running. Let's add a few of them to the list. We're going to need water production because it requires water. That's just more than we need. And we're going to need to be able to do piping. And that's part of why I'm saying that we might not build a full facility today because that's going to require a lot of copper production. And right now we have 0 copper production going. It's not even built. But we did pick up some copper sheeting from a crash site that probably that clip was included, as well as a previous crash site. So we probably have enough, again, to get a basic facility started to allow us to get back to the neighborhood, get copper and everything else added to it, and then kind of do it back and forth until everything's built the right way. But first, we got to start with finding coal. Do. 679. That's over 1,000. 675. So we do have a map now. Okay, that's next to a little bit of water. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's a pond. It might be a decent idea for us to hit this node, get just a little bit of power running, assuming we can get water in this. And then later, we'd go up here, and this is probably where our actual power facility would be. And then we could tear this back down, because coal is going to be used in other things, like making steel production. Oh, don't tell me it's up there, up there. It must be up there. Okay, that's, well, that's less important. What's more important is, can we actually get water out of this pond? We can. I'm going to say we're only going to get one in here. Yeah, I think we can only get one. That's not going to be very good. Of course, we can overclock this. So actually, this is probably sufficient for our just, you know, quick and dirty needs. I didn't bring up enough concrete. Are you kidding me? Okay. Give me a minute to remedy this. Generators are pretty large. We could fit them right through here. Yeah, that's fine. Again, we're going to pick all this back up. This is not even close to being a permanent solution for power. It's barely even an interim solution. Let's go on the assumption that we're going to be able to do 4. If not, then we'll just, you know, we'll just turn back down. Don't worry about it. And we're going to need plumbing. We don't have stackable poles for our water yet. Okay, that's something we're going to need to unlock. That's annoying. If you are a returning viewer, you probably remember that I have a very specific organizational scheme for plumbing, but we're just going to have to forego it on this occasion. The high ground, thank you. I will come behind this and do math. I'm assuming that we can do this much, but we'll be able to unlock overclocking, I think, almost immediately. We should have the power slugs that we need for that. This also should be low enough in regards to this that we don't need a pump. Now the trick here is going to be getting these in place without clipping, which I don't think is going to be possible. Actually, if we dedicate to this, which we can, it won't be pretty, but it will count. Now, is that really... All right, good, it's lining up. Another thing that we had back in early access is a lot of times these would draw a line to the center of the machine instead of the actual connector. In the cases of things that had multiple inputs. It was honestly rather frustrating. All right, we just need coal to come down. So I should have turned that, but you know, let's do it. Let's turn it. Why not? We're just eating up, you know, valuable minutes of video time. Probably gonna have to cut half of this out anyway. All right, that'll do. Now all we need is power and some math. That's right up here. And we'll just jump off. here will work just fine. All right, so we're gonna run this all the way back to base and do a little bit of math and unlock overclocking. I'm sure we're gonna need it for the water. And then we'll come back and rebalance everything. All right, this is a boss daddy. He doesn't like me taking my slug. And I'm losing the fight. Okay, so priority number 2 is going to be unlocking the rebar gun because we need range capability. I think that we will just let him cool down and we'll keep running. All right, and this will activate our coal power. I'm not going to wait for it because, again, we know that we need to balance it and make it steady, make sure we have enough water flowing, but that should at least get something going. Let's get some unlocks going, and we'll head back and fix the coal power. Power slugs. Overclock production. Okay, so we're going to need a shard. So let's turn a blue into a shard. Stuff him in the research. And we might as well go ahead and get yellow power slugs too. We haven't found any purple yet. And the other thing I said we needed is the rebar gun. We need to clear this and this. And yes, these do take 3 seconds. I always just shorten it on the edit. Not running some kind of mod that saves me on the 3 seconds. All right. Now we need our rebar. And you know what? I don't like handcrafting. And let there be rebar. Okay, while that is producing, I'm actually going to do a little bit of math on our fuel. It is 45 water per minute, which would be 180 per minute. We're producing 120, so we do need to overclock the water in order to meet our current demands. We'll also need to check and see what the consumption rate is of the coal and see if we want to introduce any more generators to match the water capacity that we can do. With a max overclock, I do believe that'll bring us to the 300 per minute, which is the maximum for our pipes. So I'm sure that we have a higher capacity for power that we can squeeze into that little area for now. And let's equip our weapon. Oh, it's looking good in the purple and green. All right, 40 rebar will do for now. Oh, this weapon is ridiculously overpowered for as easy as it is to not only build, but to maintain. You know what? I think we want to have a little conversation with someone who was bullying us. Hearing him. There he is. Yeah, hurts, don't it? Come on, come on. Give me some, buddy. Give me some. Big bad, uh-huh. Yeah. How you like that? You dead? I'm just poking a corpse. That's right. Opposable digits, buddy. I can wield a gun. All right, I'm sorry. That was way too American of me. I apologize. Now it doesn't want to let me put it right here. You see how it's floating? I don't want it to float, so I'm going to go far enough out that it's on the surface. I'm going to lock it in, and then I'm just going to nudge it back. All right, once the water catches up, I think we're good. Even take a moment, color the pipes, although this isn't the color I normally use for water. Do I have it? I didn't transfer it over. That's all right, I'll deal with that later. Again, this is all temporary because we don't care, but it's success. We have coal power, full automated power. This is going to fuel all of our iron production for now, and probably our copper production. All right, let's run back to the hub, and I think that we can probably call it a successful episode because we have accomplished all of our goals. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I know that a lot of people who come to Satisfactory videos are there to see big, beautiful things built. This is the beginning of a series. This is the early on stuff. We'll be able to make prettier things soon. But I didn't want to cut out the early game. There were comments in the previous series about how I kind of fast forwarded a little bit too much through the early game. And that was valuable feedback that I'm trying to implement on this run. So I hope you're enjoying the series so far, and I hope you're anticipating what is yet to come. So remember to leave a like on the way out. We have a community Discord. I'd love to see you there, where we talk about upcoming projects, and sometimes we do unlisted live streams just for the community. But thank you so very much for coming out, and I hope to see you in the next episode. If you enjoyed this, you may want to check out one of these other videos, and thank you very much for your time.